I'm Elysabeth Alfano. This is Tia Blanco, professional surfer Tia Blanco.
Hi, everyone.
I have so many questions to ask Miss Tia here. So, of course, we all know she is the vegan surfer. This is what I think of, the vegan surfer. And she has an illustrious career already at the age of 20?
21.
21. All right, so that'll get you thinking. Of course, I want to hear all about her vegan diet and how she prepares for her workouts and for training. But first, let me just get the background. Tia, when did you think, okay, surfing, I'm going to be able to make a difference here and I'm going to go for it?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me. I'm super happy to be here. I started surfing when I was 3 years old.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, my dad started me young, and I would say when I was about 12 years old is when I started competing more, and I really started to want to practice more to progress, and that's when I knew I wanted to be a professional surfer.
And at what point did you think, I'm actually good?
Yeah, so even though I started at 3, I didn't really compete until I was like 12 or 13, and a lot of surfers start really young, so I was actually behind once I started competing. And so in Hawaii, I was kind of behind a lot of the other young female surfers, and then when I moved to California, I started to really push hard and then started winning contests, and then obviously when I started winning, I gained some confidence, and yeah, it encouraged me to keep pushing.
So what does a typical day look like for a professional surfer? Take me through your workout routines and your practices.
Cool, yeah. So I surf every single day when I'm not traveling, obviously, but when I'm home, I get in the water every single day.
How many hours?
It honestly depends on the waves. Like, for example, a few weeks ago, the waves were so much fun, and I was surfing 8 hours a day.
Wow.
And yesterday, the waves were so bad, like hard to do a turn even, and I was still out there for like 2 hours just trying to get practicing on the bad waves too.
So that's so tricky. Like a cyclist will go to their track and every day they know that they've got that track, but you actually are very dependent on nature.
Yes, for sure. The conditions are always changing. So even though you might go to a competition and you're watching the waves to try to prepare mentally for the conditions, when you're in your heat, the conditions can change drastically and you just have to adapt. So yeah, that's why I just try to practice all the time no matter what the waves are like. And yeah.
I always think that's hard mentally because you know you're almost, as a professional athlete, only as good as your last heat. In a way, that's what people remember, and that's what they have as top of mind. And if you have really negative conditions or conditions that you're not used to practicing in, you might be at a severe disadvantage to no fault of your own.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about professional surfing is that, one, it's a subjective sport, so we have judges that give us scores, and sometimes you feel like they're unfair, or sometimes they're good scores and you're super stoked. And then the other part of it is nature. You can't always be certain that when you need a wave, that wave's going to come through to help you make it through your heat in advance. So it just kind of depends, but I've had contests where the stars have aligned for me and I've done well, so it just kind of depends really. And I think when you're not doing well, you just gotta keep your head up and know that there's always going to be another opportunity ahead.
I don't want to over-spiritualize this, but I've always felt with surfing in particular, more than other, I'll say more than other sports, but also more than other disciplines, you really have that connection to nature. Is that accurate? Yeah,
for sure. So personally, I don't go to church every Sunday. I travel a lot, but I would say I'm a pretty spiritual person. And when I travel around the world to compete in these places, it's almost like a spiritual journey, really, because
I can see that.
I'm like, I have to be grounded and have to be at a good peace of mind. So yeah, for sure, I would say that.
Well, before we get to how you prepare, and I know that a vegan diet is a big part of preparing for all of your competitions, talk to me about the pressure, particularly at, you're competing at 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, huge amount of pressure. You are in the top 50 female surfers in the world. How do you handle the pressure?
I think personally, you just gotta block all of that out.
You're very good.
I tend to do better when I don't have pressure and I don't have too much attachment to the end result. So when I go into competition and I'm thinking, oh, I better not lose, and when you lose, it's like, gosh. So when you have that pressure of like, you better not lose, you're pretty much like preparing to lose. But if you just like accept that whatever's going to happen, you're still going to be a happy person and just eliminate that pressure, I think that's when you do better. So at least for me.
I always think that that's a good life lesson, even if you're not a professional athlete. Yeah. If you focus less on the results and more on the process.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, no, you said it perfectly. You were spot on. Then you're invested in the journey.
For sure.
And the rest, who knows how it's going to shake out.
Yes.
But at least you're invested in what you're doing throughout the process, and you love that.
In surfing, there's plenty of ups and downs, and for a while I would just get really down on myself. I looked at surfing more as a job than my passion, and I think recently I've been really trying to incorporate the passion back into surfing and just life in general. And I just went to Spain and got like one of my best results in the past year. So yeah, I just focused. When I went to Spain, I was just like, okay, I have such an incredible job. I get to have a career as my passion, and I just kind of fell in love with surfing and the contests and everything again, and I did well.
I always think that's another great life lesson that we're getting from a 21-year-old here, but I think it's really accurate to learn to fall in love with your life again.
Yes,
I think it's very empowering, because we can all take things for granted and then you stop appreciating. It's just natural.
100%.
And you have to learn to sort of fall in love with your job, your life again. But I didn't in the beginning get to rattle off all of your list of accomplishments. And I just wanted to give people here a sense of just how far she has come. So you have taken the first place gold medal at the International Surfing Association's Open Women's World Surfing Championship in 2015, and then you defended that title in 2016. Do I have that right?
Yes, for sure.
That's
those
awesome.
Those are some accomplishments that I'm very proud of.
Yes, defending the gold medal. And the International Surfing Association is recognized by the International Olympic Committee. And in fact, the International Olympic Committee has just deemed surfing to be a sport in the 2020 Olympics coming up in Tokyo.
Yes.
So you're going for the Olympics?
Yes, so I was born in Puerto Rico, so I'll be representing Puerto Rico. And there are a lot of qualifications that you have to get through to compete in the Olympics, but I've been training really hard, and I've high hopes, and just staying positive, and hopefully I will be there in 2020.
Come on, Tia Blanco. Okay, so you're preparing for 2020 in the Olympics and making the Olympic team. Walk me through your diet and what kind of role your diet plays in preparing as a competitor.
Yeah, so I have been vegan, plant-based for 5 years now, and I really love it, and I just keep it simple, really. I think everybody knows like what's healthy, like whole foods are healthy, so I try to incorporate lots of fruits and vegetables to make me feel my best, and especially in competition days, I try to eat like a lot of just whole foods to keep me energized. I don't like to eat like super heavy meals like right before I compete, so I just will maybe do like fruit or nuts, and
So I was going to ask you about that right before you compete, and also the night before. Do you have a ritual of what you eat?
Not really, because when you travel around the world, it kind of varies.
You do, yes.
But I just try to eat a good, healthy meal before competition day, obviously, and then I usually travel with like bars, energy bars, and then wherever I am, I try to find a local market and get whole foods.
So I made her an energy bar.
Yeah.
I'm going to unwrap just to show you a little bit. So I have a lot of figs in my backyard, and so I made her, can you see? I made her fig bar, natural with the figs from my yard. Here are the figs that because you guys know that I have so many figs in my backyard. Okay, so if you friend me on Facebook, maybe I'll make you fig bars. Just saying.
They're so good.
It could happen. Okay, so you're pretty regimented about eating healthy, whole plant-based diet. A lot of people say, they really need animal fats or animal protein to be a strong competitor. And obviously you don't have that. So what do you say to that?
I think it's just a myth.
Yeah,
It's a
me too.
misconception. There are plenty of athletes, including myself, that have debunked that myth. And you could get all the same nutrients that people get on an animal-based diet from a plant-based diet. So my thought process is, if I can do that and not harm animals and it is good for the environment, then why not? And that's why I feel like I'll be vegan pretty much forever, because I love it so much and I feel really good eating vegan.
Vegan forever. So that speaks to me for sure. So I've never understood that, because when I used to eat meat, and I just didn't really realize that I had the option to be vegan, because I was told my whole life as a child, you have to eat meat, you have to eat meat. And I always felt sick. My whole life, I always never felt well. And I just don't understand how people can compete on a bunch of animal fat in their system. That's never made sense to me, because it weighs you down.
Yeah, I feel like in the moment, like, you're just used to that. So I have never eaten red meat in my life. My parents raised me as a vegetarian. And I don't know, I used to eat a lot of cheese, like every single meal. Wow. We would just I remember having like cheese sticks for dinner. Like, we just did not know. And then once I went vegan and I eliminated all that dairy, I felt so much better. But like, in the moment, you don't, like, that's just what you're used to. And then when you replace all those dairy products with like live plant foods, that's when you start to feel alive.
I so agree. Yeah. Yes, that's when you start to feel alive. And your best. That's when you start to feel your best.
For sure. Okay,
so do you ever take any slack for your diet? What do the fellow competitors say? Female or male, either way.
Most of the comments I get are pretty positive.
Oh, good.
Which is awesome.
Oh, good. Somehow I thought I read somewhere that you take slack for a vegan diet.
I feel like everybody that's vegan deals with that. So
yes, right.
I've been vegetarian ever since I was born, so I'm kind of used to it, and I just kind of like, whatever. Brush it off your shoulder. But my boyfriend is vegan, and he gets a lot more negativity from like his peers, because I think like, since he's a guy, it's not manly to eat plants, but that's just, whatever.
Well, then all I can do is refer you to my recent podcast on awesome vegans that also aired right here on Jane Unchained with the Vegan's Choice Motorcycle Club. And there's nothing more manly than a group of men riding big Harley Davidsons, and they're all vegan. So that myth about men and meat, that's going to go out the window.
Yeah, well, it's silly if you think about it, because, what you're actually just paying someone to slaughter an animal for you, and then you're just purchasing it at a market. It's like, what's manly about paying someone to kill an animal? Nothing. So
that's actually cowardly. Right? That's how I define a coward, is someone who doesn't really stand up to the truth and doesn't see it for its true facts and just kind of hides behind having somebody else do their dirty work.
Yeah.
That would be cowardly, in my opinion. Do you take any slack for your love of animals? I know in the past you've worked with PETA and you've been outspoken about animal welfare.
No, because I feel like people, I've gotten like, if I post about like the bacon thing or whatever, but for the most part, I feel like everybody claims to be animal lovers, so like, how could you hate someone for loving animals? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
But like, I've gotten like bacon lover, like comments all over like my social media, but other than that, it's pretty positive.
That's good. Sometimes people will make fun of that, and I've never been able to understand why being compassionate is a joke. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. It's not a joke. It's actually the way we hope our society would be.
Yeah.
I would hope, yes. Yeah. So let me ask you, I've got one last big question before we go into a bunch of sort of off the top of your head kind of questions.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a role model for young women, or for women, or for vegans, or for surfers, or not at all, just for yourself?
Well, I try to be the best version of myself, and I've gotten before that I am other people's role model, which is really cool. I have a lot of role models myself, so I can relate to that. And
who are some of your role models?
Humbling. A lot of surfers, like women on tour, and a lot of vegans too. Like, I feel like you could look up to almost anyone in life in a certain way. So yeah, it's pretty cool, very humbling to hear that I could be somebody's role model. A little bit of pressure on that because I'm not perfect, but you know what I mean. It's cool.
Nobody's perfect, but I do think for all of us, but particularly if you are as stellar as Tia Blanco here, you never know how your life is going to impact others, and you never know how you're going to be able to be a positive impact on someone's views. Or I'll just digress really briefly, just because I'm still over the moon about it. I went to my boyfriend's cousin's house the other day, both meat eaters, and I had invited them to my Thanksgiving, which was all vegan. And they said that they've been talking about that vegan dinner ever since, and because of that Thanksgiving, they've gone vegan. Never even told me. I hadn't seen them since Thanksgiving. They realized, oh my God, we don't have to starve. There's a lot of good food, and they went vegan the next day. Sometimes they fall off or whatever, but primarily vegan.
That's awesome.
I'm still over the moon about it.
That's so cool.
You never know. I mean, yes, we're all not Tia Blanco. It's true. And I've tried to surf and it didn't go well. So, we can't all be Tia, but you still can affect people by what you do. So,
yeah, my mom actually is very vocal about animal rights and veganism, and she gets a lot of messages as well from like people saying that she's inspired them to go vegan, and it's awesome. I feel like everybody can make an impact and can help in any way, shape, or form.
That is so true. And shout out to your mama.
Yeah.
What's her name? Let's give her a shout out.
Blanco.
Ooh.
On Instagram.
Peace out to you. Okay, so we have a couple of quick questions here, just kind of off the top of your head. What are we always going to find in your fridge?
A lot, kind of. I love blueberries. Like, I always have frozen blueberries, and I put them in my smoothies, and I pretty much eat blueberries every single day. So
that's all so good for you. That's so awesome. Okay, what are your favorite snacks? And it can be a healthy snack, or it can be, junk food. What's your favorite snack?
Yeah, so recently I have been making like flax meal bread, and it's so yummy. It's just like flax meal, water, and spices. And you can bake it, you can microwave it, and anything, or it gets super crispy, and you can put any spread on, and it's super yummy.
Wait, flax meal, water, and spices?
Yeah.
Huh. And there's enough there to make it something?
It's I think it's like equal ratio. So if you put like a half a cup of flax meal, you mix it with a half a cup of water, and then you mix it around, and it's so good. Like, you wouldn't think like flaxseed bread would be good, but it's like super crispy, and you can make it taste really good. Okay, so we're gonna follow up on that recipe, and I will be posting it right here on Jane Unchained.
Yeah. Okay, flaxseed crispy bread. It's coming, people.
Yeah.
I want that recipe.
Yes, I also have an Instagram account where I devote all my recipes and everything, and all my food hacks to that Instagram page. So it's called Tia's Vegan Kitchen.
Awesome, everybody. Follow Tia's Vegan Kitchen. And me too, while you're at it, Elysabeth Alfano. But first, follow Tia's Vegan Kitchen. Okay, so this might be what you just said, but you've had a busy day. You've been working out all day. You've been on the water. You're starving, but you don't have a lot of time. What is your go-to meal that you always make at home and you know it's good? You don't have to think about it. Super fast, super good.
Okay, so I have two, kind of.
Okay.
So the first one is smoothies, because you just have to put stuff in a blender and blend it up, and it's delicious, super nutrient dense too. So I would say I do bananas, mangoes, blueberries, like a green powder, or like a plant-based protein, and just add like all the good superfoods in there, and it tastes super yummy.
Yeah.
Almond milk, cashew milk.
Yeah.
And then my go-to meal for something a little bit more savory would be red lentils. I love them. When you cook them, it kind of turns into like a mashed potato consistently, and I love mashed potatoes.
Yes.
And they're super good. They are very high in protein and fiber, and they make me feel pretty good.
Yes, I'm happy that you say that, because a lot of people don't turn to lentils because they sort of don't know what to do with them, but they're so super easy to cook.
Yeah.
Just put them in water, and they're so tasty.
Yes.
Put a little bit of spice on them.
My favorite spices to use is cumin and coriander together with red lentils, because I think it's like an Indian style flavoring, and just those two together. I don't even measure anything. I just put a whole bunch of cumin and coriander, and it tastes super good.
Me too. That's how I cook. I don't
really?
I don't always measure. I just kind of measure to taste, and then I go on. Okay. Do you have any pets? And if so, do you think they're any different than farm animals?
Okay, so I grew up with 2 German Shepherds that
nice.
I loved with my whole
Yes.
heart, and then they passed away, but those
So
are like
hard.
my babies. And then about 3 years ago, my family and I got a little Maltipoo. When we found him, he was like, I don't know, he had like fleas everywhere. He looked like he was just gonna die.
Oh, so he was a rescue.
The next day, yeah, and we got him and saved him, and he's doing super good now, very healthy, and yeah, he's 3 years old now, and his name is Colbert, and I always make that connection. Like, actually, when I saw what was happening on the East Coast with all like the piglets dead from drowning and everything, I related that to Koa. I was like, what if that was you? So for sure, I make that connection.
I wish more people would make that connection, that pigs are just as smart, if not smarter than dogs, and their sense of community.
Yeah.
You know, how mother pigs look out for their piglets, their sense of community is equally as strong as dogs, if not stronger for their own species. So really important, I think.
Yes, I feel almost like it's almost like racist speciesism. I don't know if that's a thing, but
It is
because
a thing.
I mean, we love dogs and cats and everything because they're super cute and fluffy and everything, but pigs are cute too, and some people don't see it, or cows. So yeah, it's a bummer.
It is, because I think it's a question of exposure, because people think they don't see them in their everyday lives, therefore they don't have feelings or aren't cognitive. I'm not sure, because it makes no sense. These are, you know, feeling animals just as much, if not more, than your dog. So they can bond with you, and they can think through things, and they have emotions, and they have ups and downs, and they're communicative, and so very wonderful. Okay, now usually I ask the question, what do you know now that you wish you knew 10 years ago? But since you're only 21, I'm going to say, what do you know now that you wish you knew 2 years ago?
Yeah, so my family always talks about how we wish that we knew how harmful it was to eat dairy for the animals. Because
I see.
My mom went vegetarian when she was 12 years old because she's Filipino. When she traveled to the Philippines, they would just like slit the animals' throats, and that's how they would all eat, or, you know, have their meat. And she saw that, and she's like, nope, I don't want to do that. So she went vegetarian when she was 12 years old, and then we thought that we were helping animals like to the full extent. And then it wasn't till we were super active on social media that we saw other posts about how dairy can be super harmful for animals, if not more harmful to eat dairy than it is to eat a steak. So once we found out the harmful effects of eating dairy, we were enlightened, and I wish we would have known that.
Yes, I feel the same. I didn't fully realize how harmful dairy is. It sounds like your whole family's vegan.
Yes.
Your dad too. That's awesome. And you have a brother or a sister?
Sister.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's wonderful. Okay, do you have a favorite phrase that you live by? So one of mine is, eyes to the sky, nose to the grindstone.
Cute.
What about you? Anything that you say yourself when you're getting ready, you're getting pumped up, you're like, okay, any phrase?
My mom and I actually have a matching tattoo of this, and it's go with all your heart. So the backstory behind that is when I moved out a year ago, we got this tattoo together, and she would always tell me go with all your heart wherever I went, like whether I was going on a trip or just like leaving out of town. So that was just our little thing. So when I moved out, we got that tattoo together.
So we have to give another shout out to your mother.
Yes.
Okay, go with all your heart. I love that. That's great advice. Okay, my very last question for you. What are your predictions for the future? And that can be about veganism or something else. It can be about tomorrow or 10 years from now. It doesn't have to be about veganism, but it could be. It could be about surfing. What do you see is going to be changing in the future?
Well, for me personally, I hope that in the future I'm happy where I'm at.
Yes.
Because I'm happy now, and I feel like happiness is a choice, so I hope in the future I can choose to be happy. I hope that more and more people become compassionate towards animals. I hope that my surfing career is where I want it to be.
Come on, Olympics.
Yeah, and then my sister and I are actually starting a skincare line that's all vegan and natural and cruelty-free and all that good stuff that we believe in. So we're launching that in about 2 to 3 months now. So that's something I'm really excited about. So I hope that goes well. Fingers crossed. I'm super nervous, but
So I hope that you'll keep me posted for 2 reasons. I'd like to cover that right here on Jane Unchained. I'd love to go to the opening party for your line and be able to talk to people about it. And then in addition, because I am older, and you can see I've got my gray hair, and I've decided to.
Amazing.
Oh, so isn't she nice? People are always asking me, well, how do you stay young, and how do you have such high energy, and what kind of makeup do you use now that you're older? And so I'm always looking for reputable, cruelty-free makeup brands. So I'd love to be able to promote that on my site, ElysabethAlfano.com.
Oh, we'd love to send you some samples.
Oh, how nice is that? Oh, I know, but I'm very serious. So many people ask me, and I want to be able to tell people where they can get cruelty-free makeup and cruelty-free like moisturizers and things like that.
Yes.
Wonderful. What's the name of this company?
Well, we haven't shared anything
no, fair enough.
yet,
Right. Okay, we're not ready. Surprise.
We've been putting so much hard work into it because not only do we want you all to love the products, but we want to love them too, and we want to be proud of the products and the line that we put out. And my sister and I have always loved skincare ever since we were young, and this has been a dream of ours for a long time. So
wonderful.
Yeah, I can't wait to launch it and share everything with you guys. And yes, it is toxic free.
Oh, great, Star Elliott. Thanks for that.
Yeah, we use fragrances that are only essential oils, so no synthetic fragrances. And yeah, I think you guys will love it.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay, everybody, stay tuned to Jane Unchained, because I'll be covering this new line of cruelty-free and toxic-free beauty products from Tia and her sister. Be sure to check out Tia's Instagram, which is Tia's Vegan Kitchen.
Yes.
My Instagram is Elysabeth Alfano. You can go to my website, ElysabethAlfanoaswell.com. Until I get to see you again at your product launch, I want to thank you, Tia Blanco, for being here.
Yes.
Good luck on the Olympics. Keep us tuned in to that. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, great to have you here.
That was so fun.
And everybody, don't forget to be vegan. Bye. And bye to her mom, who's so great. Bye, everybody.